Coming up on Mountain News this morning, the election is right around the corner as the nation prepares with ballot safety and more. Plus, new funding is helping Perry County find the resources for a new water treatment plant.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Madison Carmouche. We are inching up to that 5 o'clock mark this Monday morning. Today is November 4th, just one day until Election Day. Let's check in with meteorologist Megan Dusmall for a look at your forecast this morning. I feel like everyone's kind of focused on that, like umbrella, no umbrella tomorrow, but we got to get through today first.
We do have to get through today, and luckily we're in some good weather for today. We're not seeing too much, especially on the radar, and those temperatures are going to be great. So take a look at that satellite and radar right now. Really just looking at partly cloudy skies, almost full cloudy in some areas, and as we continue through the day, that trend of partly cloudy will be the story. But as you're heading into the current temperatures, let's take a look across the area. We're staying quite warm for this time of year. We are in the upper 50s for the most part, with some places hitting that 60-degree mark. And as you're heading towards Monticello, 65 is the current temperature. But we will be warming up into those forecasted highs today in the upper 70s. So you might not need that umbrella, and you definitely don't need that jacket as you're going into the afternoon hours. But let's look at that day planner. We'll continue to warm up gradually to about that 4 p.m. hour, while you'll see that high temperature, partly cloudy skies, and no chance of rain as you're heading into your Monday. Madison.
All right, Megan, thank you. Election Day is almost here, and folks across the country are preparing for November 5th. Throughout the Commonwealth, many people have already cast their ballots with early voting. Two major points on the ballot are Amendment 1 and Amendment 2. Political scientist and government professor at Eastern Kentucky University, Ann Sizemar, explains the importance of these two amendments and what you should do before you vote.
I encourage voters to look before they go to the polling location about Amendment 1 and Amendment 2, because the language that is on the ballot by necessity will be very technical or perhaps very long and may not reflect exactly in clear language like we would think of on a day-to-day human conversation level what those amendments are actually going to do.
She says this is why it is important for voters to do their research beforehand to make sure they are well informed on Election Day. To find your polling location and see a sample ballot, you can go online to govote.ky.com. And as we get closer to Election Day, here are some more local races we are keeping an eye on. In the battle for the 6th Congressional District, Republican and incumbent Andy Barr is taking on Democrat Randy Cravens. Barr has served as the U.S. representative for the state's 6th district since 2013. 5th District Congressman Hal Rogers is running unopposed. Here is the showdown for state representative in the 71st District. That district consists of Laurel, Pulaski, and Rockcastle counties. Republican incumbent Josh Bray is up against Democrat Rachel Riddle. More than 650,000 Kentuckians voted early. Secretary of State Michael Adams says roughly 200,000 people voted on Saturday, and the first and second day of early voting saw a record-breaking turnout. Adams says 52.6% of early voters were registered Republicans, 40.3% were Democrats, and 7.1% were registered as independents or other. In total, close to 800,000 Kentuckians have cast their ballots so far. Thousands of Kentuckians are heading to the polls to have their voices heard in local, state, and federal elections across the state. Election officials are working to make sure your vote is counted. Jessica Umbro talked with one county clerk and a local law enforcement agency about what they're doing to keep ballots safe.
We do anticipate voters to be spending a little more time in the privacy booth.
Scott County Clerk Rebecca Taylor says election security is prioritized by including members of both major U.S. political parties in all steps of the election process, including the handling of ballots and in closing down the machines for the day.
And then the results are carried back to the courthouse where the votes will be tabulated, again with that two-party representation.
Taylor says there will be double the amount of privacy booths at many voting locations, too.
We have a really good cooperative effort that we've worked on just to have drop-ins with our Georgetown City Police and our Scott County Sheriff's Department.
With elections as high profile as the presidential election, along with local races, local ballot questions, and constitutional amendments, law enforcement agencies are also on high alert.
We're going ahead and upping our security just in case. We do expect a high turnout with it being that. So we have plenty of deputies on staff at each of the schools and polling sites, courthouses. We will be prepared for anything that's necessary.
But whether it's election staff or law enforcement, there is a shared mission in keeping voting secure and moving in the final days of the 2024 election cycle.
We still want them to have that smooth experience that they've had in the past, little wait time, and just an overall good experience, a good smooth flow through the vote center.
In Georgetown, Jessica Umbro, WKYT.
Taylor says that even after November 5th, the voting machines used will undergo a 30-day quarantine. That means in the event of a court order, votes can be thoroughly reviewed and tabulated by hand. Social media could be influencing a new demographic to head to the polls. Annalise Russell, an associate professor at UK, says there isn't a lot of research on the connection between social media and voter turnout. However, big celebrities like Taylor Swift can help encourage younger voters to participate civically.
Maybe they're more likely to vote now because there's an authenticity that comes across on social media.
Russell says while social media can help to inform, it can also spread misinformation. Funding is going to multiple Eastern Kentucky counties. The Hazard-Perry County Economic Development Alliance announced in a Facebook post that the Coalfields Regional Economic Development Authority was selected for a $4.2 million grant. The funding comes through the Kentucky Product Development Initiative. Zach Lawrence is the executive director of the Economic Development Alliance, and he says this funding will be beneficial to Perry County as well as the surrounding counties.
We kind of all went in together and were able to leverage all of our funding and throw into one bucket. So it really helped us make a larger impact project, going after the $4 million to really leverage against our City of Hazard's water plans.
The City of Hazard says they want to make a second water treatment plant and transmission line feeding. They say this will output 3 million gallons per day of excess water capacity directly to Coalfields Regional Industrial Park.